Well, hey, how you doing? It's nice to see you. Has your day gone well so far? Have people at work been nice to you? I hope everybody is being kind, friendly to you, and that you are being gentle with yourself because you deserve it. Today I wanted to answer the question that one of my dear viewers over in the Philippines, asked me today, or at least I saw the comment today when I started the day, and it was a great question. So, how do you know when to sell? What's a good time? And this is a great question. I think, I don't like to be vague in answers. I like to be really specific. When is a good time to sell? The answer on that, like all great questions about investing, is it depends. And the answer that I give can only apply to me and my own decisions, and it won't necessarily apply to you. But I want to give you an example. And it's an example that I think does make sense. It has made sense for me, and I want you to just evaluate when it comes to selling a stock if this kind of resonates with you. I'm going to start this with a little quote. Peter Lynch said, "Selling your winners and holding your losers is like cutting the flowers and watering the weeds." And people do this all the time. You have a stock that's doing well and it goes up a bunch and you're like, that's it, I'm going to sell it. And then you go and buy some other stuff. Now, I'm not good at this. I'm not a trader. I tend to probably, if I do make mistakes with my investing, I probably hold some stocks longer than I need to or than I should. But one example of a stock that I held for a long time is Nvidia. I bought this stock at, I think it was $13 a share. I bought my Nvidia at $13 a share, and this was in 2020, in the fall. And I knew enough about it. This was before AI was even talked about, and nobody really knew what Nvidia was all about, but had a feeling about it, had an intuition that this company was going places, and it was relatively cheap, so I bought a bunch of shares. Now, hey, take a look at that beautiful dogwood behind me. Wow. Cornus, Florida, flowering dogwood. Cornus, the dogwood family, there it is. Okay, so back to the story here. I bought Nvidia, it was $13 a share. And this has been a fantastic addition to my portfolio. When I made it, I had $1,000. That's what I put into Nvidia. Why didn't I put more? Nobody knew in 2020 if Nvidia was going to be that great a stock. It was used in video games, needed those GPUs. It was used for Bitcoin mining. And people talked about how GPUs would be a part of autonomous driving cars. But nobody knew that Nvidia would be the stock it is today. Now here's the return on this stock. 987%. That's my return on Nvidia. What's funny is I almost didn't buy any Nvidia. I was writing a book at the time, Stock Market Intelligence, and in one of the chapters I suggested to my readers that they should be experimental and creative and make a portfolio and just take a chance on some stocks that they wanted to own, even if they didn't have the full confidence and understanding to go in big, to make a concentrated bet. And I said, you should open up an account at a brokerage, whatever that broker is, just keep it separate from your serious money, keep it separate from your retirement account, keep it separate from your investment account, but have like intelligent speculations. That's what I called it. And my editor wrote back and said, "You're not doing this yourself?" Because I think I mentioned that I hadn't personally done this, but I thought it would be a good idea. And my editor got so pissed at me. He was like, "You cannot tell people to do something you haven't done yourself. Go ahead, open up an account, and do what you're telling other people they should do." Obvious, right? So I took his advice, took my editor's advice, and I went ahead and I put 10,000 bucks in this account and I bought 10 stocks. And they were all companies I wanted to own, but I hadn't bought stock in them yet. So I bought Nvidia, I bought Costco, I bought Apple, I bought T-Mobile, I bought Salesforce, Zoom Video Communications, Alibaba, CoStar Group, TMO. TMO is Thermo, Electron, and maybe another stock or two in there. I want to pause here to show you this beautiful other specimen of Cornus, Florida. This is a flowering dogwood. I believe it's Cornus, Florida, rubra. Rubra meaning the red color of the leaves. This is Greg and Elise's house, and this is their beautiful tree. And I always love walking by here, taking a look at that. These are my neighbors. Nice place. They have some beautiful trees. The next one that's going to show up here, this is a Katsura tree. And the leaves of this tree smell like cotton candy or burnt caramel in the fall when they fall off. So that's a Katsura, K-A-T-S-U-R-A genus. All right. So I bought 10 stocks. Now, what's funny about Nvidia is a couple years, 2 years after I bought that stock, the market tanked in 2022, and that stock fell 50%, maybe even a little more. You can check it yourself if you don't believe me. Huge decline in Nvidia, and a lot of people were like, oh, this stock is, people had given up on it. They thought, uh-oh, that was all hype, that was all a bubble, it's never coming back. And obviously if it's down 50%, people were selling Nvidia hand over fist, as they say. Whoa, almost bit it there. This is beautiful. There's a nice little swing here. Check this out. Oh, it's beautiful. Can you see it? Little swing right there. Very idyllic spot. I'm going to learn how to flip this camera so I can make it a front-facing camera, but for now, I'm using a camera I don't usually use, so this is all kind of experimental for me. In any case, some people were selling Nvidia, and I thought, well, I've held it for 2 years. I think the company's a good company. They make these GPUs, and maybe they'll be useful in the future. So I just held it. I just didn't do anything. And obviously that turned out to be a good decision, because here we are now 3 years after 2022, and Nvidia has 10 times the money, and I haven't done anything. Actually, I added more shares. I've bought more. So originally I invested 1,000, and I've put much more into it since then. But here's the thing. There's no rule about selling, and that's what I wanted to share with Na. This, of course, is not financial advice, because I can't tell anyone what to do. But going back to what Peter Lynch said, selling your winners and holding your losers is like cutting the flowers, watering the weeds. Cutting the flowers. So I like to let my winners run. I just like to hold them, because I've held a few great stocks in my lifetime. When I was really young, I bought Berkshire Hathaway. I can't believe it. It's been more than 20 years. I just bought shares. I thought, this Warren Buffett is a smart guy. He works with a group of really trustworthy, hardworking, smart investors, and I think this is going to be a great company to hold. So, investing's really easy. If you get that first decision right on what to buy, you don't have to make a lot of other decisions. So, what's funny is I was looking at my semiconductor portfolio, which in yesterday's video I was lamenting to you guys about how sad a state that portfolio was in. Now, anyone who's followed my channel for the last couple of years knows that last year I bought 10 semi stocks. And I thought, oh, this is the infrastructure of the future. This is where the world is going. You know, these are going to be great stocks to own. And I kind of didn't think of the risk or the downside, what could go wrong. And it kind of did go wrong at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025, because that portfolio was down, I checked it yesterday, 29%. I bought 10 stocks. I mean, in a year when the S&P 500 did really well, these stocks did negative. They performed a negative return. But, and let me just say, because I forgot yesterday, please tap like if you haven't yet. And if you're new here and you like stuff about stocks and you like ETFs, please subscribe to the channel. All right, I've said it. I forget to say that, and it's really helpful. Okay, so where was I? Oh, the semi stocks. So now I look today, and some of these stocks, which I fortunately did not sell, are doing amazingly well. I looked at Camtech. I mean, these are up more than 3 or 4 or 5%. Some of them, I mean, Camtech, Allegro Microsystems, Nova Measuring Systems, Nova Limited. What are some of the other stocks in there? I think I mentioned Excelis Technologies. These are up like, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9%. I think the biggest winner today was up 9%. And so if I had, you know, gone ahead and sold that stock, any of those, just because they did poorly, that would definitely have been, I don't know, I might regret it a little bit, because today just holding some of those that I still have has been a good thing. Collectively, they did really well. So I'll say something else about that portfolio that I mentioned earlier with Nvidia. There were 2 stocks in there which were real turkeys. I don't like to just talk about the stuff that worked out, because I've got to mention also, got to be realistic with you guys. I also bought Alibaba 5 years ago, which is still in the negative since I bought it. And I bought Zoom Video Communications because Zoom was such a big deal. It's a profitable company, and it was 5 years ago. And I thought, this is amazing. It's like a startup, had a great CEO, and a business model that like everybody's talking about using Zoom. I mean, I would gladly risk $1,000 on that stock. So what's happened is Zoom, which was worth $1,000 when I bought it, might be worth $200 or $300 today. Alibaba, which was $1,000 when I bought it, might be worth $300 or $400 today. I forget. So should I have spent time and sold those positions earlier? I mean, who knows? But the bigger thing to look at is Nvidia was $1,000, and now it's worth like $10,000. So those are the decisions that I want to do more of. If I can look to what happened with that portfolio of 10 stocks, it's had a phenomenal performance over the last 5 years, despite the fact that I have a couple of turkeys in there. Nobody really cares about the Zoom and about Alibaba, at least I don't, because they are overwhelmed by the amazingly positive, strong performance of Nvidia. So I'm not really going to beat myself up about a couple stocks that lost several hundred each, because really those were kind of the chances I had to take. It's entirely possible, and this is how the mind can kind of play tricks on you. It's entirely possible that Zoom could have been the 10x stock, or that Alibaba could have been the best stock in my portfolio, and I'd be saying, wow, am I lucky, am I glad, or am I smart because I picked those 2? And you know, Nvidia could have wound up being a stock that you know, lost 30 or 40 or 50%. I could have gone, oh, why did I buy Nvidia? What a turkey. So I feel like sometimes those losing stocks are just the price of admission to this portfolio game. Do I really know when to cut them, when to sell them? Not really. I mean, I could have, let's say I said 50%. If a stock I own drops 50%, I decide that it's been a bad decision and I sell it. If that were the case, I would have sold Nvidia in 2022 at a 50% loss. And just doing nothing in that case, because it was a good company, profitable then, profitable now, just doing nothing wound up working out well in that situation. So those are, just some thoughts there for you. Nah, I really don't have an answer. I've seen some of the stocks you've mentioned that you own, and it seems like you are really doing amazingly well. I know you probably haven't told me every stock in the comment section of these videos that you own, but it seems like you have really chosen some stocks that have performed superbly, so congratulations on that. I don't know. I will say this, each of us has a process. You put your head down, you study whatever you study. You learn about the business, maybe you look at stock charts, maybe you read financial reports, annual reports. Everybody has their own process. I'd say keep your head down, focus on that, see how good you can get at finding the stocks that work for you, and keep notes, keep a journal, keep track of what works. Also, Captain Private, I read a really nice comment from you today. I'm, by the way, really sorry to hear that you had to make a trip to the vet on Sunday late at night. I hope that your dogs, or maybe cats, I think you also have some cats, I hope that they're okay. And yes, it's Monday, so all of that is behind you. But it looks like some of you guys are really successful in your investing. I think Captain Private said that he's up about 20% this year, which is phenomenal. So yeah, I would just say take a look at these stocks that you've bought or trades that you've made and see if you can find out which were the mistakes and ask why. Sometimes things just happen, they're kind of random, and there's nothing you can really learn from it. But I would say, for example, if I were to have bought a bunch of stocks that did really poorly and I had done very little research on them, I might take the take-home message might be like, oh, my results were really lousy when I didn't do enough learning, didn't understand the companies behind the stocks. That's just an example. I have to say, I've seen the tickers that a couple of you mentioned. I think, you mentioned a couple stocks that you owned that I don't own. One of them I remember is Limbaugh. It's I think an air conditioning company. They probably do construction and things like that. And Limbaugh I had looked at last year and I thought, oh, maybe I should own it, But I think that sometimes seeing that somebody else owns a stock and then trying to copy that idea is not really a strategy. And I just don't think long-term looking at what other people are doing and, following them really makes sense. I do wonder, because it seems like you own a bunch of stocks that are up 50, 70% this year. How do you decide? I would have a tough time if I owned 10 or 15 stocks that were up 70%, and I noticed the PEs on some of those stocks were really high, like 50, 70 PE. Seems expensive. How do you decide? Maybe you don't use that information to decide to sell. I mean, I think that perhaps you have other metrics you look at, other stuff that helps you decide whether to keep a stock, whether, it makes sense in the portfolio. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Hope it's been fun. Again, if you are new and just came across this, please do subscribe to the channel and do hit the like button. Just reminding people to boop the like button. It really does help spread the video. So if you enjoyed this, if you got a minute, if you want to spread the joy, please do hit like. And let me know in the comments if there's anything that I haven't covered in today's video that you're curious about, because I love to hear from you guys, and there's nothing like having a two-way conversation than getting a little comment below, and then I can respond to it, or maybe even use your question as a springboard for the next video that I make. So by all means, don't be shy. Say what's on your mind and share any ideas that you have. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to hear from you guys. Also, I wanted to thank Carol. I mentioned in yesterday's video how you guys handle the craving for delicious food, especially snacks and sugary things, because I definitely had that. And Carol said, oh, sugar's an addiction, but once you're doing like a low carb situation, after a while you stop craving it. And I did have ice cream in the fridge last night, a few different kinds, and I just didn't have ice cream last night. I had something else. I had something more like, oh yeah, I made some eggs. I think I had some yogurt or something, Greek yogurt, and the cravings weren't there, and today's a new day and I had no ice cream. So thank you, Carol. It's amazing. You never really know what kind of effect you can have on other people, but you just reminding me that sugar is very addictive and that it is actually possible to lose that attraction, that hook that sugar has on all of us, just by finding something else, getting your mind off of it, and then eventually just going to sleep. So thanks for joining me today. Always fun to spend the time, and I will see you in the next video.